Awesome. And I think that it is actually live now. So let me notify Discord. So folks, hi there. I don't know how to do like an intro for when I stream on Zoom. So there you go. Okay, good. It worked. Okay. So another thing I need to do is disable chat because this is why I don't live stream just directly to Zoom, because people are total jerks and say mean things in the chat. And this is why we can't have nice things. So let me see if I can figure out how to disable live chat. It says enable live chat. So that's odd. It works. Okay. Why does it? Okay, so if I enable it and save, and then I go and disable it and then save, you should not be able to chat. There we go. Good. And hopefully I can figure out a better way to do that so that I don't have to do this in the future. So blame jerks on YouTube for making my life hard. Okay, so hi everyone, this is Office Hours. Let me send a quick notification to people. I'm not streaming in the Kent's Office Hours video channel for reasons explained above. Please join the Zoom. And let me get a Zoom link for today's meeting. And there it is. There we go. All right, sweet. So, and for those of you watching, the chat for this is the Office Hours chat, not the Kent Live chat. So, yeah, I couldn't add a chat before I toggled it. Well, other people could. So, yeah, hopefully we can figure that out. So from what it looks like, there are only actually 2 of you here. And so I'm just going to wait for just a second for other, well, actually, if you have questions, you go ahead and ask them now. And I'm happy to answer. So feel free to ask. The chat will happen in Discord. So you do want to have both Discord and the chat open. And I'm going to ping the people who are in the Kent's Office Hours because they shouldn't be there. So Jeff, no, wrong Jeff. Jeff. Oh, all right, and we've got some people chatting in here. If you don't have sound, I don't know what to do for you. You'll have to figure that out. Sorry. You can also just chat in Discord.
Hi, Kent. Can I ask you by voice?
Yep.
So I have a question about using React testing library for testing Polymer components. I want to trigger an event on Polymer component, but when I catch it on parent React component, I see only one property and event object is trusted and it's getter. Have you ever tested web components with RTL?
So I have 0 experience with Polymer and testing in particular. I think I've done Hello World with Polymer and that's it. So I probably can't really help you a lot. You could, and in particular, you shouldn't let's see. So are you using React with Polymer? Is that why you're using React testing library?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Yeah. So I would recommend going to the testing library. What am I looking for? Need this over here. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So go to testinglibrary.com/discord and you can go ask on there. Maybe somebody there will be able to help. Let me give a link to that here. Um, and so maybe somebody who actually has experience with Polymer can help there. I know that there are some issues with the shadow DOM and stuff. So let's see. It was DOM testing library shadow. Yeah, there we go. So you may need to do something fancy with this library that this fine gentleman created. So that might help. But yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, good luck. Sorry. Just gonna hang out here for the next until the next question. Anybody else have a question?
Yes, in Zoom chat.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I want to avoid using the Zoom chat because while it does save it, I don't want to take the time to like copy it over and stuff. So I'd rather keep it in Discord. And it looks like Asli, I'm not sure how to say your name, sorry. Asul posted this in the Discord. But yeah, where did you post that? I don't know where that was posted, but hopefully it's in the Discord somewhere. Hey everyone, do you have any suggestion to understand how React reconciliation, commit render, etc. work? Yeah, I don't. There was a talk by Sophie. Let's see. Um, Build React. This might be helpful. This is kind of about the renderer though, so it probably isn't quite right. But yeah, so check the Office Hours channel for that link to this talk. It was a great talk. There was another one. Oh shoot, his name escapes me. I think it was at sorry, as Paul React Paul something. Nope, this guy's also awesome. Shoot. No, his name's not Paul. I can't remember. Let me see. There's one other thing. I thought it was Paul. Yeah, there. Oh, Shenesi. Yeah, this guy. Cool guy. Um, React. He like builds React in this talk. Yeah, building React from scratch. Also, really informative, interesting talk. So, yeah, there we go. So there's that. Hopefully that helps. I don't know of any other great resources for that. Yeah, other questions?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, this is Saurabh. I have a quick question. Can I like share my screen and show something?
Sure.
Okay. Give me 1 minute. Are you guys able to see?
Yep.
Okay. So I've been going through on one of the clubs on the testing JavaScript course,
Mm-hmm.
and I have one question here. So I'll just give background of this test project or just the setup. So I wanted basically writing a test for a util, which is giving me user. So let me just this file. This makes a call to a external method from this library, which is like an auth provider library. And I'm just calling a method on this library, doing .name, and then returning a string,
Mm-hmm.
right? And let me go back to my test. So in our club, like the other people helped me with this, but I'm still confused with one thing. So the way we mocked it is we have a mock user. We call just.mock for the whole module, and then we do for this. So this package, this exports a class. So this is a class on this
Mm-hmm.
package. Like if I go to the types, and then we provide a mock implementation. All this this works fine. But what's confusing to me is if I follow this pattern, I would have to import every dependency inside of my test. I, I would like to not do this, but do something like this. Like while I'm mocking, I just provide a module factory, and I provide my implementation there.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm unable to do that because this is a class. Like I don't know like what would be the syntax of like
Yeah.
getting it to work.
Yeah, sure. Actually, I wonder if there's a chance that I could somehow like get control of your screen so that I can
I
type it out.
actually
Is that
have it
possible?
I
in.
believe you can request it
Yeah, let me request
on his
that.
screen.
Let me try that. So I just requested.
Sure, I accepted it.
Okay, cool. Let's see if this works. Wow, that's fun. Okay, so
Testing.
yeah, whoever's testing, we can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna grab this. Oh shoot, now I just realized that I'm on a Windows machine, and so I gotta think about what is the what are the hotkeys. Okay, so we're gonna replace this with that. And so what you're mocking is a module. So you're not and the way that it's being imported is this user manager is the default import. Is that right?
Yes.
Oh no, it's a named
No,
import.
it's a named import. Yeah.
Nice. So this is all correct. So you need this user manager to be your mock constructor function or your mock class. And what you're doing right here is you're saying your user manager is an object with a get user property, but you want to have it be a function, or sorry, yeah, a class function that returns a instance that has a get user property on it. And so probably the most effective way to do this is to make a class right here called user manager, and I'll call it mock. And then we'll have our get user method that returns the mock user. And then you're going, oh, shoot, wrong keyboard shortcut. There we go. And then you'll just put that in here. Whoops. And that should work. Go ahead and give that. Actually, oh, one other thing is, of course, we'll need to delete this. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Now I see your point. Yeah, that's
Cool.
what I was confused with. Like, where do I write a class in which? Yeah, This makes sense. Let me try it out.
Sure. Yeah.
It's right here. Yeah,
Woohoo!
that worked.
Good
That was
stuff.
great. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, sure thing. I'm gonna let go of your control of your screen now, so that you know, I don't want to have that liability. How do I do that? Stop remote control. There we go.
And like of the two approaches, like which one works better if we have a large project? I'm
Well,
guessing.
so you could actually take it even further if you want to, and use the Dunder mocks directory. And I'm guessing this looks like a create React app project. So I think that would go in the source directory. You'd have a Dunder mocks Dunder directory there, and you'd have an oidc client.js file in there, which would act as your mock module. And let me give you a link to the docs about that.
Sure. Oh, because when I was on Jest documentation, it said it has to be like if you're mocking something out of node modules, it has to be outside of the source or adjacent to the same directory where
Yeah,
you're not.
it's possible. It kind of depends on where Create React App sets the root. I think it's the root dir configuration. So if they set the root dir to the root directory of your project, then yeah, it'll be right next to node modules. But if it's set to source, then it'll be within the source directory. So it just kind of depends. You try it both and see which works.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that was helpful. Thank you.
good, cool. Who else can we help here?
Did you see that someone has a question in the chat?
Oh, I missed it. Let me go find that.
In the Zoom chat, I mean.
In the Zoom chat. Oh, well, let's. I did answer that question. We do want to try and keep the chat or keep our conversations in the Discord chat, so we have that history. But yeah, probably questions actually are probably okay either place, because I'll just be pasting links in the Discord chat. So. And while I'm waiting for somebody to ask, Nick, the reason that I'm not going to do the multiplex stream thing with OBS is I actually don't think that I can stream from OBS to Discord like that. If I can, then let me know. That'd be great, because then I I'd like to go from OBS to both Discord and YouTube. That would be like great, but I don't think that's possible. I tried a couple of different things.
Do you need to live stream to YouTube, or do you just need to record a VOD?
So I have to live stream because I don't want to take the time to upload.
Oh.
So yeah, I need to reduce the amount of friction between me
Wait,
and doing this stuff.
there's
Otherwise I won't do it.
I saw some Twitch streamer talking about it's not Streamlabs. There's some service that lets you basically like multiplex a stream. Like you get one stream key for one one OBS endpoint, and
Yeah,
then you
so
can tell it like go to Twitch, go to Facebook, etc.
right, yeah.
I don't know if they support Discord.
Yeah, unless I can get it into Discord, then it doesn't matter. So Zoom is there's no reason for me to do anything but Zoom, because Zoom handles what I need. And so I'm not gonna I don't care about streaming to Twitch. I honestly kind of don't really care about streaming to YouTube, except people really want me to save these videos, and YouTube is the easiest way to do that. If I stream to Twitch, then I still have to take the extra time to say, okay, Twitch, go send that to YouTube now. OBS won't work unless I can send it to Discord also, which I can't. And Discord won't work because I can't send that video. I can't easily save that video. So Zoom is the only reasonable solution, because it's like the least amount of friction for me. So
well,
it's
I'm
bad.
I'm not super experienced with this, but as far as I understand, you should be able to record your Discord screen in streamer mode. And when you go in streamer mode, it disables like notifications and whatnot. So if you're concerned about privacy, that might actually be more convenient.
Yeah.
And then while you're recording, you can either live stream to YouTube or save it to a video.
Yeah, I've tried that, and my machine dies.
Oh, okay. That's
yeah, because it has to do transcoding for both Discord and for my live stream. I can't do both. And I do actually have a separate Windows machine that I bought years ago just for the streaming portion, so it takes weight off of my laptop. But then that's just more friction, because then I've got to turn it on. I've got to it was super annoying. I hated it. I won't do that again. So yeah, anything that takes more work, I will not do. It has to take less work than what I'm doing now.
We should ask in Reactiflex, because I know at least a couple of people that are like doing streams and whatnot.
Yeah, well, yeah, if there's an easy way for me to start a stream and get it recorded without me doing zero extra work, then I'm up for it. But if it's even as little work as taking the file that was saved and uploading it to YouTube, that's too much. I won't do that.
You could also use Google Meet. It doesn't require installation unlike Zoom, and it doesn't require an account if I remember correctly.
Right.
But it does
I can
require a
make
paid domain.
I can make Zoom not require an account. I intentionally enabled it because if I say no account required, then I can't easily moderate the people who join.
Right.
So
yeah, unfortunately, I don't think a lot of people have accounts. But
well, this is
at least you could log in with Facebook or Google.
Yeah, this is your opportunity to sign up because yeah, I'm just like I can understand that people don't want to have an account with Zoom, but if you don't want an account with Zoom, you also can't have open or office hours with me. So I don't mind adding friction to people's experience getting free stuff from me. You know, provided that it is free for them. Like I'm not, yeah.
Well, I mentioned Google Meet because I believe they also have auto recording to YouTube. I think.
I have done like
that.
Hangouts live stream stuff before, and I wouldn't be surprised if Google Meet supports that. And probably more people have Google Meet or Google accounts than Zoom accounts, but we're gonna stick with Zoom. And does anybody else have questions? This is office hours. We can talk about alternatives to how we do office hours, not during office hours. I think there are a couple of people still hanging out in the Discord chats wondering when I'm going to start office hours, which is always kind of
I said something and they didn't respond, so I think they might have it like deafened, so I wouldn't worry about them too much.
Yeah, I'm going to still ping them.
I mean, like, if their speakers are off, then they probably wouldn't listen to the meeting anyway.
People are more than welcome to just chill as well. If you just want to listen, that's totally cool.
I should come up with a good Zoom background though. That's the one advantage.
Yeah, this is actually really cool. I love this.
That's neat.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. So somebody's asking about office hours. I'm guessing they're watching the YouTube live stream because they're not in here. So office hours is here. I'll share my screen. I probably will get this question every single time. So I wonder. Yeah, actually, if you're watching the YouTube live stream, then I put a link in the description. Yeah, I will just go to that because nobody else is asking questions. And it's just me being available for an hour to answer anything that you have. So earlier somebody shared their screen and I was able to help them work through something. That is a perfect example or use of office hours. This page will also get an update pretty soon to explain the new Zoom process. It will also, there's a link to add this to your calendar too. So if you wanted to do that. Yeah, so that's what office hours is about. It really, for me, it basically means that I get a silly amount of questions from people about lots of things. Testing is a really common one, but really about anything. And it's hard to answer those questions throughout the week. Like it is disruptive to my productivity. And so part of the motivation behind office hours was to say, okay, if you want to get questions answered, that's great. I'm happy to help, but I'm going to consolidate the time to just put it at this one time or 2 times a week, you know, that are hopefully as time zone friendly as possible. Yeah, and then when somebody asks me a question, I say, well, that's a great question for office hours, and I don't have to derail my whatever else I'm doing. So, because I want to help, I just also have things to do.
Hey, Kent. Can you hear me?
Yeah, hi, I can hear you.
Okay, I did send a link on Discord. I talked to a friend of mine, he's a streamer. They said you can use this link to connect a couple of accounts. And after you finish streaming, the website will push your stream to YouTube or Twitch.
Yeah, so I've seen this before too. The thing is that I don't need to be able to push it to multiple places. I don't actually care. I just need a place where it's saved automatically. Here's what I really want. I really want to be able to just start up a Discord and chat and talk or whatever. And when I'm all done, it goes to YouTube automatically. That's all that I need.
I think that's the only solution available now.
Sorry, what?
I think that's the only solution available now. According to my friend, he doesn't know any other website or provider that allow
Yeah, it's not possible. There's no, like, this won't do that. Yeah, like it's not possible. So thank you for trying to help, but yeah,
you're welcome.
Right now it won't work. Somebody asked.
I have a question, Kent.
Oh yeah, go for it.
I'm still contemplating whether, using TypeScript or not using TypeScript, and I would love some insight on, like, what are the pros and cons. Like, what I'm seeing right now is like it adds a lot of boilerplate, and it feels like it adds some levels of like type security, but not like 100%. So it's like, yeah, if you understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah. So I evaluated this when I was working at PayPal. And so, like, let me kind of give a bit of a backdrop for my feelings on TypeScript. I don't use TypeScript today. I don't write TypeScript. Yeah, Jacob. I don't write TypeScript at all. Here, I'm going to stop sharing. There we go. And the reason is that I don't work on a team. I don't work on a product. Well, technically I do work on a team of open source developers, but it's slightly different in that realm. And I could see value in adding TypeScript, but there's also the trade-off of making it harder for people who aren't familiar with TypeScript to contribute. So that's why I don't have that. But yeah, so when I was at PayPal though, we were using Flow for our stuff, and Flow was great, but it was clear that TypeScript was dominating, and so I moved us over to TypeScript. And the reason that I think that using a typed language is a good idea is if you're working on a product with a team of engineers, those people can't read your mind on what you were thinking when you were writing this function. And so having those taking the time to add in the types is like taking the time to add in tests to help you make sure that when people are refactoring, they don't break your stuff. Or when you're refactoring, you don't break your own stuff. So I really strongly advise that people take advantage of TypeScript. I think it's a good idea. And is like on teams and things like that for sure. For small things like my website or little one-off projects that I do, I don't use TypeScript. For my instructional stuff, I don't use TypeScript because I'm not teaching people TypeScript. I'm teaching them whatever it is I'm teaching. And if I used TypeScript, then I'd have to say, I assume that you know TypeScript. And it's not ubiquitous enough for me to make that assumption. And so yeah, I recommend that if you're building a product that you care about the longevity and you have a team of developers working on it, you should probably use TypeScript. Even if you don't have a team, if you care about that product's stability, then TypeScript is a really good choice. So I do recommend TypeScript. The suggestion that TypeScript is boilerplate, I don't exactly agree with. It is more characters to type, but it will save you bugs in the future. It's like tests. Sometimes you write more tests than the code that it's testing. Like that happens all the time. And that doesn't mean that the tests are boilerplate. It just means that you're getting confidence out of the thing that you're writing. So yeah, I would suggest using TypeScript.
No. Yeah, it's a great answer. Can I ask a follow-up or?
Sure, Jacob.
No, John, just playing. say something
Yeah.
real quick?
No, it's just I guess boilerplate is the wrong word, but you know, it adds more characters. Like you said, I think that's the right way to put it. But
And actually, one other thing just on that really quick is it can be really frustrating when you're just trying to iterate on something fast.
that
And
was what I was
so,
gonna say. Yeah.
yeah. So what I would recommend is you can add the types right at the end. Like when you're like, okay, I'm happy where it's at. I'm ready for this to go and get merged. Then go ahead and add the types. And I would actually suggest that doing it any other way is probably a waste of time. Like there's test-driven development and like writing the test first. Like that's useful in some scenarios, but sometimes test-driven development is a bad idea because you end up writing all these tests and then you go and you are implementing and you get to a certain point, you realize, oh shoot, this is not going to work ever. I have to do it completely differently. And all that time you spent writing the tests was a waste. And the same thing can happen with writing the TypeScript types as you go. You spend all of this time writing these types, and then you get like halfway through and you realize that your approach is totally wrong. You have to delete everything. So I would suggest, like, as you're iterating on something quickly, don't bother with types and add the types when you're all done and you feel good with the solution.
Yeah, so I actually use it at work pretty much exclusively now. And one thing that I noticed right off the bat is first off, you can write JavaScript. That's like, it doesn't take that away from you. You can just write just pure JavaScript all day long. I don't suggest putting any everywhere like some people do, but the other thing I noticed right away was you don't realize how much tooling you actually have in place to kind of like pseudo type things. Like prop types in React is a great example, which TypeScript immediately goes, you don't need that anymore. I'm here. And it does that for a lot of different things. And even in line with some of your other tooling like ESLint and stuff, you now have so much static testing happening that when you go to write your unit tests, you don't have to worry about like most of the stuff that you normally do.
Yeah, it's true. Like, and runtime handler or like type checking and stuff totally goes away. Yeah, it kind of fills in a pretty big gap. Like I wouldn't go as far as to say, like some people say you don't need ESLint if you have TypeScript. I disagree. But it does eliminate a huge category. And actually, I have a blog post that's sort of about this. It's probably nothing new for folks here, but I'll share it anyway. So,
by the way, I wanted to pitch in a quick opinion if you don't mind.
Sure.
I feel like it's kind of a personal preference / project preference thing about like whether or not TypeScript works. Well, personally, I mean, I might be biased because like I've been using typed languages for like 5 to 10 years, but like I find it much harder to refactor anything without TypeScript. Like if I'm going to make big changes, like I would actually rather port to TypeScript than delay it, even if it's less work on types. Like the types are helping me refactor. And especially if you use like VS Code or normal Visual Studio, pretty much all the refactoring tools are based on TypeScript types. And if you have TypeScript, they're a lot more accurate. So you actually get better automated refactoring, which can save a lot of time with like renaming files and whatnot. And you don't have to like test as much, like, oh, I forgot to update this path because I used my regex wrong, etc.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely a trade-off.
Yeah, it is a trade-off. It's not like what's the word? Is it panacea, where it's like applies everywhere?
I mean, personally for me, I just would assume use it on literally everything except for projects where normal JavaScript contributors need to go. But like for my open source stuff, I don't worry about it too much because most of my types are inferred anyway. But I totally get it for instructional stuff. Like I agree with your point on that.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things as well. Like I'm biased, been working with JavaScript for so long, I don't even think about the types. So I don't feel that I'm getting so much value. But then some of our junior developers, we see that, you know, the types are not as, you know, it's not as, they don't have that experience with it for so long that it makes, you know, total sense out of the gate. So yeah, I guess it's a personal preference thing, but like when you're at a company, you're either running TypeScript or you're not running TypeScript. So like kind of trying to figure that out for, you know, my whole team and everything. So yeah.
Yep, totally.
Appreciate the insight. Yeah.
Sure. Cool. So somebody asked a question here in the Discord chat. It was a little while ago. Let me see if I can find it.
And just to clarify, if I can,
sure.
When you say don't worry about the types, do you just like write normal TypeScript? No, I mean normal JavaScript to begin with, and have like JS files and then refactor them to TypeScript after, or do you mean just like having TypeScript but declaring everything as any? Like, you know, what's the path that you go from there?
Yeah, actually, so I never actually got a workflow for myself when I did that, or when I was doing TypeScript. It was just in the back of my mind. Like most of the time that I was at PayPal, after I transitioned things over to TypeScript, most of my effort was in the tooling aspect, so I didn't really get into a workflow. But that was like, people asked me about that, and so I said, well, what I would do if I were in that situation is just ignore TypeScript. So I'm not sure on a recommended workflow for you. Sorry.
Yeah.
By the way, it is possible to have TypeScript check like plain old JavaScript files. You need allow.js and check.js and compiler options.
Yeah, so maybe something like that.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah,
Thanks.
so this was somebody mentioned this in one of our channels on Discord a little while ago, and just was asking for my take on this. And so basically here we have this use panel hook, and that's returning a component. And they said that like this is so that I don't have to do all of this nonsense here. And so you look at these two code samples, you're like, well, yeah, obviously this is more awesome, right? Because it's less stuff I have to do myself. So what I first see when I see this, or what I first assume, is that this panel component is being generated by the hook. So it's like within the hook itself, we're creating a new panel component. And that's a red flag right there, because if you create a component within the function body of another component, then what will happen is you render that component, and then we get a re-render. We're actually creating a new function component called panel, and we render that. And so we actually unmount the old one and mount the new one. And so we're unmounting and remounting every single render. And so you can avoid that by memoizing it, but it's typically just not a good idea. So that was my first knee jerk when I saw this, like, oh, yeah, I hope that they're memoizing it at least or something. But typically not a huge fan. But as I looked in deeper, that's not what they're doing. They actually, if we come down here, let's find where that panel is created. Yeah, right here. So it's actually not declared or created within the hook itself, but instead the hook is just referencing the panel component that's created outside of it. And that's interesting. Like, so you don't have the problem with remounts on every render. So that's good. But I'm just like scratching my head, like, why is it as a part of this hook then? Like, what purpose does that serve? Why could I just not do this exact same thing, except instead of getting the panel from use panel, I just import panel just like I did use panel. So I don't see a lot of value or benefit to this approach. It's more confusing than anything else. So I see that they're using prop collections here, which is a pattern that I kind of propagated, if that's a word. So that's cool. I would suggest that they look into prop getters. But it is a fine pattern, but there's nothing about what we're doing here that requires the component to be coming from the hook. And in fact, I'd suggest that it's probably a little confusing. So that is my feedback on this approach. Yeah. Anyway, hopefully that's helpful. And actually, some more on patterns. One, I didn't like dive deep into what they're actually trying to accomplish. I just looked at high level of the code. But there's also compound components, which probably what they were trying to do could benefit from that pattern. And there was the prop getters thing that I mentioned here as well. So I'll just paste a link to both of those in the Discord chat because they are interesting. Okay, cool. Let me check the Discord chat, and if anybody wants to jump in with another question, I've got 15 more minutes about, and then we can, I've got to move on. I do see a question here. How do you handle data fetching when utilizing reducers? Do you set up a custom async reducer? Yeah, so I do async things with, I have two things that I use async. I realize that this is like flipping somebody off in other countries, so sorry about that. I have a GIF of me doing the flip off version, and I'm going to re-record that. So I have two things that I use for async stuff. And I should probably blog about this. Because yeah, it'd be useful. But the first, and actually I should probably just open source this, honestly. I expect there's a solution that's similar to this already out in existence. But here is my use async hook. It's in the Bookshelf app, part of the Epic React material. And it's great. I use this for anything that I want to trigger an asynchronous anything. It's awesome. It takes a different approach from lots of other hooks that I've seen for handling async stuff. And it's pretty simple, as you can see. So there are things that, yeah, that could be improved about it, but I'm pretty happy with this. It's, yeah, I like this. The other thing that I do for async stuff, and most of my async stuff, is use React Query. So yeah, React Query is awesome. Super, super huge fan of React Query. So I strongly advise people take a look at React Query for async stuff. So how I decide which I do, I will use React Query for anything that needs to be cached, and my use async hook for anything that doesn't. And then sometimes I actually combine them. And looks like I just did this. Here we go. So it is in, oh, wrong thing. Let me think. It's in the rating, I think, component here, where I put them together. Nope, not this one. It must be the, oh, status buttons. So just for example of what the UI is for this stuff, it is this. Whoops. Here, let's go here. So the little spinny thing, these are what are called status buttons, and that's what we're looking at here. So for the way that this works is we have this tooltip button component that is all of these. They have a little tooltip associated with them. And when you click on it, we call run from use async, and we run on click. So run is just a function that you call that accepts a promise, and then the state values within use async will get updated based on the that promise. So it says, okay, now we're pending, and now we have an error state or a success state. And so in that scenario, I'm actually combining these two things because these are using React Query under the hood. These hooks are just built on top of React Query. And so I get this mutate function from React Query, and I pass it to the onClick. And so mutate's going to return the promise, and then I'm going to show the spinner and the error state and whatever else based on the promise that I get from React Query. So sometimes I do combine them just as a nice way to get access to the promise and the state of the promise for my application. So that's how I do async stuff. I don't need anything more than those two things, and that is pretty cool, I think. So let me look through any other questions that have been asked. We've got just a few minutes here. Okay, so Alex is asking a question. Planning on giving a talk here. I can move this over here. In Mexico, is there a speaker guide on what approach or route I should go about? This is not my first time giving a talk on JavaScript. It's a local co-working space, 30 to 40 people. Hopefully you're all social distancing and wearing masks, or you're remote or something. But yeah, and then a comment on our TypeScript stuff earlier. Cool. So yeah, let's talk about giving talks. I don't think that I have any stuff on speaking. Maybe I do. Whoops. Talks, speaking. Yeah. Why and how I started public speaking. That might be useful. So I'll just paste that in here. And then also my 2010 decade in review, I kind of talk about how I get into speaking. I don't have anything specific about preparing a talk, but I think actually Dan Abramoff wrote something that I thought was good. Yeah, preparing for a tech talk. It was a 3-part series on preparing for a tech talk. So that might be useful for you also. And as opposed to most of his other blog posts, these ones are of a reasonable length. Just kidding. He writes a lot of words. I do not write as many words as Dan does. Yeah, so hopefully that is sort of helpful. Good luck on your first talk. That's exciting. So, or not first talk, I guess, but on the talk. It's always exciting to give talks and stuff. Oh, actually, one other thing that's great. How to talk to developers is a great talk that was given back in I think 2013. Oh gee, at Rails Conf. This used to come up first. It's been a while, I guess. Great talk. This transformed the way I give talks. And then there's also Start with Why. Right here. Yeah, just great stuff there. Actually, the book Start with Why is good. If you wanted to read that book, kind of helps form the way that I talk about things. Here, I'm going to give you. I'm going to put my affiliate tag on there. So, I mean, I'm the one who sent you that direction. Anyway, hopefully that's helpful. Let me see if there are any other questions. And if anybody who's actually in the Zoom wants to unmute and speak, then you're more than welcome to do so. If you want to ask a question specifically.
I did ask a question.
Oh, was it in the chat here or?
Yeah, in the chat.
Okay, let me see if I can find it. Actually, why don't you just ask it? I don't want to search around for it.
Okay. I want a reference for using Jest and React testing library as a reference because I'm learning it newly and it's hard to get the hand of both of them and putting it together in the code. Yeah,
so I can give you some resources. First of all, the best resource available on the internet around testing is testingjavascript.com. I can't give you any better recommendation than this. And that's not just me tooting my own horn. I seriously don't know of anything that is better. So that's one thing to look at. And as a common question, just to answer a common question, yes, we do support purchase power parity. This means that the price may differ for you based on what country you are from. And so you'll look right around this area to find that it's an opt-in link that you click on. And you can get like a pretty serious and significant discount. Like I've seen like 80% and more discount on stuff for that. So
thank you so much.
Yeah. So that's a really great resource. Testinglibrary.com, testing-library. The docs are pretty good. So yeah, just you follow along in the introduction. Here you get an example here of stuff. Yeah, I would just suggest spending some time going through the docs.
I'm going through the docs, but it's hard to find some doc that use both Jest and React testing library.
Well, actually, I'm pretty sure that most material on the internet for React testing library is using Jest. That's like 90% of people use Jest with React testing library, I think.
Okay, I will look more. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Sorry that you can't find something that's like, here's how to set up Jest with React testing library. Yeah.
I figured out how to do so, but writing the test itself, it's what is hard.
Oh, writing the test.
Yeah.
Well, so you could probably spend a long time reading through every blog post that I have about testing. And yeah, anything that is interesting, because I have tons of stuff on like how to test different things. Also, testing JavaScript is a paid thing, but all of the material is totally open source. So if you go to GitHub topics and testing JavaScript, then that will show all of the repos for testingjavascript.com. And you could look at React Testing Library course. It's not really intended to be consumable yourself, like without the videos, but you can reference this stuff and see, okay, well, here's how Kent tests, error boundaries, and you can look at that stuff. So hopefully that's sort of helpful.
That helps a lot. Thank you so much.
Sure thing. Let me back up here unless anybody has something they want to speak as a question.
Kent, I have one more question, and it's about deciding how flexible your application needs to be. So a few prerequisites. I had an application with map and a lot of filters, and somehow I met myself that I have a lot of strings in action creators that creates keys in my store object. So I have extra flexible store, and I'm not sure if I need to make action creator for every common key in object or leave it as it is. I hope you understand me.
Yeah, I think I know it. So I'll preface this by saying I don't do Redux. So action creators and all that stuff, that's I used Redux years ago and realized that I didn't like it, so I haven't used it since. So I'm not sure if I'd be a good one to ask this about, or to. I'm sure that Redux has some support channels that you can go and toss some ideas. I expect React to Flex would probably give you some opinions on that. All I can say is I'd suggest using React or Redux Toolkit if you're not already using that, and try to keep things as idiomatic as possible and avoid getting overly creative. So that's all I can really say.
Yeah, definitely check out the Redux channel, because there are multiple maintainers of both Redux and Redux Toolkit in there.
Yeah.
Good luck. Maybe it's about flexibility and making application rigid or flexible. What is the way to decide, is my application flexible enough, or I need to make it rigid, more rigid?
Yeah, so I would suggest in general to optimize for change. And I've written about this a little bit in AHA programming, so I'll give you a link to that. And Dan Abramoff has also written about this. I've referenced Dan 3 times in this live stream, but he really, like, these are really good posts. Let's see, I think it's optimized for change. There we go. So take a look at both of these blog posts, and hopefully those are kind of helpful ways to think about abstraction and flexibility. But really, being flexible is not nearly as important as being easy to change. You can be overly flexible and actually paint yourself into a corner where you're not nearly as flexible as you wanted to be or hoped you were. So keep that in mind. So yeah, good luck. Let me see. There was some other.
When do you usually have these office hours, Kent?
Yeah, office hours. They're right here. And I'm going to add the Zoom link. I'm really liking Zoom as a platform for this. It's not quite as easy as just Discord, but it's pretty much just as easy. So I think I'm going to stick with this. So I'm going to update this page with a link for like the calendar thing, so you can add it to your calendar and stuff. But yeah, it's on Mondays at this time up until 2 minutes from now, and Thursdays at 4 p.m. my time, which is a certain number of hours after this. But yeah, I try to keep it as time zone friendly as possible while still being like during the working day for me. So hopefully that's helpful. Okay, so let me try and get as many of these last questions answered as possible before I've got a jet.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
We have a caching issue in the company I'm working on, and we had that debate about using React Query. But some of the other guys in the company had a concern about the background updating thing where React Query refetches the data on the background, so it might cause server loads on the server. So we figured that we can disable the background refetching, and then we had a conversation about what's the point then if about importing React Query if we're disabling what it's meant to be. So I want to know what are your thoughts about it.
Yeah, sure. So React Query, the background updates is just one of many features of React Query. And the cool thing about React Query is that it gives you all the knobs on how to control your cache. So first, I would actually argue against the assumption that like the background updates is a bad thing. It really depends on what your users expect. But I think for most people, they want their data to be as up to date as possible without having to refresh manually. But whatever the case may be, if you really are concerned about that, if it really is a problem, then yeah, feel free to disable it. But disabling that is not disabling the only useful feature of React Query. So I would strongly still advise using React Query, even if that's one feature that you disable. So cool. We got another question. Can we create npm packages that we give an object and it generates state for every property instead of one big React state context? I'm not sure what you're suggesting there. Yeah, I would need to understand the problem before I understand that solution. I'm not sure I see that as a problem. Yeah, I don't see that as a real. Yeah, I'm not sure. And another question about whether I'm into React Native. Here, I'm going to turn off sharing because I'm not sharing right now. So I'm not into React Native because I don't do native stuff at all. I don't do mobile. I do web mobile. So there's that. But yeah, I just haven't gotten into React Native. It's awesome. I'm sure people seem to like it. If I were to write a native app, then I would absolutely reach for React Native. No, like not even a question about that. So, but I'd probably go with something that's like kind of pre-baked and has a lot of stuff built in. I don't feel like I'd want to like go with just raw React Native. So I think Expo or like create React Native app or whatever, something like that. Is there a library I'm using to make the Discord bot? Discord.js is correct. Yes. Cool. All right. That is it. So thanks, everyone. Let me just wrap up with a couple of notes, especially for those of you watching the live stream right now. So let me share my screen again. I know that some of you who've been following me for a while on YouTube are kind of sad that I haven't been streaming on YouTube. Just as a reminder, YouTube does a really bad job of automated moderating of jerks on YouTube. And it's not just in the comments after. I don't actually get a lot of jerks in the comments after, and I don't really care as much, a whole lot. But it is in the live chat. And so I disable that. And I don't trust YouTube. And so I'm much happier on Discord. It's been awesome. I love streaming on Discord. Yeah, but a lot of people are like, but we want recordings. And so that's why I'm streaming to YouTube as well. But if you want to be able to participate in the stream, then you will want to join the KCD Discord. which you can find at kncdots.com/discord. There's a link here. That just takes you to kcd.im/discord, which will bring you to the Discord. But there's a bunch of cool things that you can do on the Discord here. I've got my live streams. I'll probably be streaming those to YouTube as well because lots of people want those recorded. And so I'll probably be doing the same Zoom setup for my live streams. But I stream pretty much every day and sometimes a couple times a day. Not necessarily every day, but yeah, pretty regularly. And then I've got these office hours. And if you want to participate, then you'll want to be on Discord to participate in that. And then there's the learning clubs. That's something I'm working on right now to automate this process, but this idea of learning together and learning better. So please do join us on Discord. We're a pretty friendly, happy community. You are required to abide by the code of conduct, which you can find here. And one of the reasons that I like Discord is it makes it really easy for me to enforce this. I can boot you. On YouTube, I don't have that kind of control. So yeah, I'm happy to provide a nice place for people to join in and just be happy and help each other learn. So that is all I wanted to share. I will be updating the KCD Office Hours soon with the Zoom links as well as the calendar links, so you can add this to your calendar if you want to. And yeah, that's it. I haven't missed an office hours yet since I started it like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I do expect that I will have to cancel an office hours sometime eventually. But anyway, hopefully that's helpful. If you do want to watch the recording or want to share it or whatever, then you just go to my YouTube channel and it's right there. I'm watching myself live stream right now. So there's that. Unfortunately, I can't control where this video shows up, and I can't prevent Zoom from showing up there, which is also quite annoying, but it is what it is. That was no reference. Okay, great. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you all in the soon future. Yeah, have a nice day. I'll probably live stream today. I don't know. Things are heating up for Epic React Dev, so I'm going to be doing a lot with email stuff. But we are within a month, weeks away from Epic React getting launched, so that's exciting. I can't wait. Okay, thanks everyone. We'll see you later. I'm going to turn off the live stream first. Bum, 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 bum.